A t-shirt and jeans, mac and cheese, oceans and sunsets. Some things in life are an obvious match, like RIAs and Schwab Advisor Services, the #1 choice for independent advisors looking for a custodian who can help them go further. With all the wealth services, technology, and support an RIA firm needs, the difference is so obvious, it's Schwabious. Find your match and learn why custody is just the beginning at schwabious.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
So in tech, I think the most important thing right now, even with funding, is just having a good product and really standing for yourself and your product and your company. Because at the end of the day, that's what talks. Regardless of opinions people might have of you, or their opinions of where you're from, or what they think you can offer or not offer. If you have a good product and you have something that's strong and that works and that people need, that's what's going to speak at the end of the day. So I think, it is a difficult field to navigate, but I think it'll speak for itself. Yeah.
Step into the world of success with Your Brand Amplified, the ultimate podcast designed to unravel the intricacies of thriving businesses. I'm your host, Annika Jackson, and I'm on a mission to uncover the stories, strategies, and secrets that have propelled entrepreneurs and business leaders to success. I was recently at AI4, as many of you know. I've been talking about it off and on since I went a couple of months ago. And there was this beautiful woman standing as we were all going to breakfast into the MGM arena for one of the keynote sessions. And she was handing out these cute light blue bags. And I was like, oh, so I took one, I looked at it, I walked right back and said, who are you? I need to know more about your platform. And that is how I was able to get Annie Maj, Travel Spoken, onto the show today. So Annie, thank you so much for blessing us by being here on the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And, honestly, I felt the same about you when you approached me. I was like, oh, who's this beautiful woman? And I'm just so happy we were able to do this today.
Yeah, I think you are definitely filling a big need in the travel industry. Before we get into what you're doing, let's talk about your background. You're living in New York, living in London. Tell me a little bit more so the audience gets to know who you are beyond travel.
Okay, yeah. So a little bit about myself. I guess on the professional side, I've always been a creative, from winning art prizes in school to university, majoring in architecture, 3D design. I did actually work as an architect at Gensler for a little bit. And then I realized quickly that sitting in front of a desk and a screen all day wasn't really my thing. So I eventually went into doing my own freelance UX, UI design as well, product design as well. But aside from all of that, travel has always really been a part of my story. And this really started from childhood, I would say. I grew up in a traveling family. We were expats. My parents are Nigerian, but sent us abroad for school and raised us in England, which meant constantly traveling back and forth between school breaks. But my dad's job took us to so many places. We went to Dubai, Far East, China. And because that wasn't enough, I also got signed as a teenager. I was an international teenage model. So I had different agencies all over Europe. And that allowed me to also travel and live in different cities at a young age. So I was constantly traveling for work. And, because of this, I kind of was overexposed, I would say, to a lot of culture. But that's where my love for travel and connection really started. So I began to see a lot of frustrations, traveling a lot realizing how frustrating it was, how time consuming it was to plan and to book. And the whole process to this day was still quite irritating, especially someone who travels a lot. So, yeah, it really inspired me to build what I have now with Travel Spoken. So, yeah, that's basically long story short.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate though that a lot of times when have the opportunity to travel, you hold that dear for yourself. You know, you have friends and family, you surround yourself with other people who travel and who love to do that.
Yeah.
But you've created a solution for people who, yes, love to travel, but also those who might love to travel, but they don't know where to get started. They don't know what they don't know. Also, as women, or you as a Black woman,
Right.
sometimes you don't know what countries are safe to go to. How do we navigate the complexities of travel? So I'd love to hear a little bit about Travel Spoken, why you decided this is the perfect time to launch, and what we can find there.
Yeah, sure. I mean, well, I'll tell you a little bit about Travel Spoken first. It's an AI-enabled platform and it makes planning and booking travel as easy as having a conversation. So instead of comparing the endless flights, hotels, activities, I mean, there's so much out there, right? Users having to sort through hours of their time, just trying to find what fits. On Travel Spoken, our users can just simply describe what they want by voice or by text and get personalized itineraries and minutes they can book and share. And, we're not just trying to be another travel booking platform. We're actually building a social layer, and that's what makes us different. So people can share travel stories, book directly from content, discover authentic recommendations, and plan trips in a very collaborative way with friends and family. And I just feel like that's the future, initiative and intuitive community driven travel. So I feel like some other companies, they're good at transactions, but they don't really foster these relationships. And Travel Spoken is designed to really be that travel companion you can return to and find information, like you said, for yourself. It's personalized. So if you're a woman or you're a certain minority or you're someone that's maybe not used to going to a certain region of the world, you can, it really does the research for you and it guides you and it gives you an open window into what you can really do. So, yeah, I think that's this fusion of AI, social design, and community driven travel. It's really what we're trying to push. So, yeah.
Mm. So, yeah, because a lot of people are worried about AI. We know that if we live in the AI world, so we're all about it, but we also realize we still need the human connection, the human in the
Yeah,
loop is still so important. There are a lot
right,
of people who are not in the AI world yet,
right.
believe it or not.
I
And
know, which
so,
is crazy.
yeah, and for me, I mean, I'm on a WhatsApp group with a whole bunch of us who just bought tickets to go see a band in Dublin in a year, right? Well, I guess next May. And we're figuring out who's going to go to Dublin, and then other people are going to go to a different city. Where are we
Right,
all going to stay? Who's bringing kids? Who's not bringing kids? And it
right,
gets really complicated in one conversation thread. But the idea of having a whole community about it, we could have the trip, or we could have the band, and we could have, okay, who's going to Dublin? Go off into this cluster. Who's going to Manchester or whatever other city? And so
right.
then we can fine tune and really figure out what's going to work best for everybody. Where are you going to stay? Because right now, like you said, it's everybody's looking up information, different
Right.
platforms. It's disjointed.
Right. Scattered group chats, spreadsheets, right? I mean, everyone I talk to has the same pain point. Everyone travels. That's the thing. So it's something that's shared by so many people. And there might not be one solution. We might not have everything, but I think we can identify with a lot of people like yourself who does, you do travel quite a bit. And, I'd love to help you with your next trip, as well.
Yeah. How did you get involved in AI and decide this was the right tool to use for the platform?
Well, when we talk about AI, I think, you know, this whole chat GPT sort of influx is what really like captured a lot of people's attention, but it has been around for a while, as we know. And I think for me, I've always been interested in technology. Always been interested in, finding out what's out there, finding out what's new, and exciting. And you know, I was looking into a lot of this before ChatGPT even came out with their model. I actually decided to do my own research. I did a course at a technology school in New York. So I got certified in artificial intelligence because I really wanted to learn how it worked. Machine learning, I've been reading a book. It's called How Machines Learn. It's really good. I mean, it kind of teaches you about, the back end of, what we're actually doing when we're talking to these machines. And it was just this curiosity. And I always say there's so much information out there. And I think a lot of people who think, oh, I could never get into that. Like I look a certain way or I'm this or I'm that, so I could never get into tech or AI. I think it's so easy now to just literally build anything you want, find out, the latest news. There's so many newsletters you can subscribe to, podcasts like this that you can listen to that people are talking about their brands and how they use AI in their brands and their companies. So I think if you have the passion for it, you can really just find it. But for me, it was pretty simple. There's so many resources out there from the internet to books to, there's these courses, MIT's offering courses, BrainStation, all these different companies. So yeah, that's sort of how I got into it. I would say kind of stumbled into it.
Nice.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
A t-shirt and jeans, mac and cheese, oceans and sunsets. Some things in life are an obvious match, like RIAs and Schwab Advisor Services, the #1 choice for independent advisors looking for a custodian who can help them go further. With all the wealth services, technology, and support an RIA firm needs, the difference is so obvious, it's Schwabious. Find your match and learn why custody is just the beginning at schwabious.com.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
And for yourself, do you have any favorite places that you like to travel? Because I'd love to hear about some of your experiences, because I'm sure that they also helped shape what you saw as a lack in the market.
Yeah, gosh, like it's such a long list. I mean, some of my favorite places have been, I actually love China. I love Italy. I love living in Milan. I love Africa. I mean, West Africa, Ghana. You know, I would say honestly, like I'm still living these frustrations. So I could go back to the most recent trip. So one of the most memorable trips I actually had was a recent one to Bali. And it's such a beautiful place, but it was a lot. Like I remember us spending days just trying to coordinate the whole itinerary. We were there for 2 weeks. So it was a lot. It wasn't just like a quick trip in and out. And, I was already developing travel spoken, but I was thinking in my head, like, I really wish I had this now. This would be so much easier if travel spoken existed. It would give me all the inspiration I needed and everything in one place. And I had to we were spending hours like on different websites and then figuring out how far everything was from the villa and like if someone would like this and if someone wouldn't. So I think that even inspired me more to just really be motivated by the idea of like merging design and technology to make life experiences just richer. But yeah, going back to the Bali trip, it was beautiful, amazing culture, amazing people. I think Indonesia is just, I think their culture is very similar to African culture, like even the food. So I can really relate. And they're very family oriented, loving people. So I really enjoyed that trip. But yeah, the activities that we booked, I'm not going to mention the company, but it's one that most people would go to book activities. It's like completely nothing like the description, some of them. And you can tell the company themselves were listing the activities, so they were promoting it. But honestly, looking back, we probably didn't need to do those. Maybe something a bit more authentic. And, that's kind of what I want to show is like authenticity, not just like, oh, this is an tourist trap or an Instagrammable moment. Like, this is you actually immersing yourself in the travel and the culture. And like, I think that's what makes the best trips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm thinking about, I mean, as we've talked about, in 2 days, I'm leaving for Vietnam.
Yeah.
And part of it's arranged, going with a group, finishing out my MBA program. So
Congratulations.
thank you. But within that, we had a great website. We could book excursions. Do you want a room with somebody? Do you not? But we still had to book our own flights there. And then two of my peers and I are going to Thailand afterwards. So then I'm looking up, okay, which airline do we really want to take? It's only a 90-minute flight, but still, those little things make a difference. How much is our
Yeah.
luggage going to cost? If it costs extra, all those little things. In 90 minutes in Asia, they still serve full meals. So figuring out what meals are rated the best, and then figuring out our flights back. My mom luckily lives in Thailand, so she's already arranged a driver to pick us up at the airport, get us to our hotel, some excursions. So I have that connection, but a lot of people don't, and they wouldn't know which things are really the ones that we could go to, like you said, versus the tourist traps. How do we know what's legit? Because you can go down a million Reddit. I mean, I've been doing all the subreddits, working with Claude on the schedule, going to every single website, looking at Expedia, looking at at trying to see, can I actually get into this website for this airline or not? Because it's not set up in the same way that a United States citizen would think, right? It can be so complex. And when you're coordinating people, or over this summer, traveling with my daughter through Europe, well, through the UK really, and
Wow.
then having my boyfriend come join us and having my sister come join for part of
Okay.
it, and coordinating all of those people, like, and who's on which part of the trip and where we staying, it would have been so much easier if I could have almost a travel concierge buddy to do it with. I mean, I did rely a lot on AI, but
Which is good.
yeah,
I
but I
mean,
probably would have picked better Airbnbs in some situations if just reading reviews
right.
doesn't do it. You want to hear, I
Yeah.
like to hear that real personal, like, who's going to tell me the truth?
Right, right. And on that, like a big feature of ours is actually, the fact that the AI learns about you. So the more you use it, the more it learns about you. So we want it to be a personalized experience and not just, oh, we're just going to throw this Airbnb in front of you, or we're going to throw 20,000 hotel options until you just get so exhausted of
Right.
scrolling that you just end up picking one. And, it has like 4.8 reviews, but all those people who left reviews are nothing like you. And actually, the person that's actually like you probably left 2 stars and you didn't know that. So, right. So that's, exactly to what you're speaking. It's a real pain point, and it's a lot. It's too much of a pain for such a big part of our life, you know? Yeah.
Hmm. And you are going after funding.
Yes.
Talk about that experience and just being a woman in tech. Yes, there are women in tech, but I feel like there's still not as many of us as there should be, or at least enough of us with a light on us, like yourself. You need to have a light on you and what you're doing. And we only hear about people in the big corporations.
Right. Yeah. I mean, even when we were at the AI for convention, I mean, just looking around, it was, and I've been to some other conventions. Even there was a tech convention, Tech Week here in New York. And yeah, it's usually always the same thing. And I think, for me growing up, I never felt certain things because I got used to always being the minority or being sort of someone who was a bit different in that space. I went to an all-girls boarding school where, 10 out of 500 of the kids there were African.
Hmm.
So I've kind of been used to being in environments where I might not necessarily be the norm, but I think, travel, as I said, really opens you up to different cultures and different ways of life. And I think having that has helped me adapt to so many different situations because I can understand where different people are coming from because I've lived their experiences as well. So in tech, I think the most important thing right now, even with funding, is just having a good product and really standing for yourself and your product and your company. Because at the end of the day, that's what talks. Regardless of opinions people might have of you or, their opinions of where you're from or what they think you can offer or not offer, if you have a good product and you have something that's strong and that works and that people need, that's what's going to speak at the end of the day. So I think, yeah, it is a difficult field to navigate, but I think it'll speak for itself. Yeah.
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 Nice. And when it comes to the fundraising environment, you know, we hear all these things in the news, only big companies are getting funded, or maybe there's a little bit of the bubble's going to burst, and you
Mhm.
just don't know what to think in which direction things really are going.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of those big companies, I think sometimes it could be overfunding, it could be hype. A lot of these big companies, they don't have to do much to get people to write checks for them because they are where they are already. And I think as a smaller company, you want to resonate with someone who really believes in you and what your company stands for. And sometimes those are the better investors because then they actually aren't just there to write a check, they're there to actually hold your hand through the whole process. So luckily, like I've met some really nice people over the last couple of months, weeks, who have kind of guided me and have become advisors who've been doing this for decades and have helped me now with even some grant money and helping putting me in the right position and preparing myself to get funding because that's really important. A lot of people think that, you know, they're just going to get funded because they have a good idea or a good company, but there's so much technical things like documentation, you have to be registered properly. I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to make sure are in place before you can even accept money from someone. So luckily I've had a lot of help in that department, and I think that should really help propel us as well.
Yeah. I appreciate that you said that because I think sometimes we get really excited about the money coming our way. And so we
Right.
might not read the fine print. We might not look at the big picture because we're coming at from a place of scarcity instead of a place of abundance and owning that we have a great product.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
If you're an RIA, Schwab Advisor Services is the Watson to your homes. Smart, dependable, always has your back. With all the wealth services, technology, and support your firm needs, the difference is so obvious, it's Schwabvius. Follow the clues at schwabvius.com.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Right. That's so important. I mean, even a lot of there's some companies like in the B2B space that I've been reaching out to just to, have partnerships with them and to help supply certain travel. So I'm getting the best travel information that there is out there to provide to my clients and my customers. And the amount of times I've had to like negotiate these contracts down because they're trying to just lock you into craziness because you're a small company, you don't have, they think you don't have much of a say. And that's why having people around you and having advisors is really important when you're starting off, because they don't know that the advisors I have, have been in the travel industry and have had companies that have been acquired by big travel companies and, are VPs on big travel companies, or, have their companies have been acquired multiple times. So they understand how this works. And they're telling me like, oh, no, you don't have to do that because this and this company is doing XYZ, right? So, but these, even those kind of relationships, you're having to sort of battle that. You always have to read the fine print and make sure that like you're not just being boxed into a corner just because you're just getting started. That's really important as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have people been beta testing the product, and what have been some of the responses that you've gotten?
Yeah, so we've been user texting, we've gotten, I've gotten a lot of responses, and not just from friends and family, because I know sometimes they don't want to tell you that your baby is ugly. Um, but I've been getting even advice from founders of other companies and advisors. They love the concept. They need it as well. I mean, everyone I talk to, they're frequent travelers, and they might not even be, you know, they have normal lives, but they're traveling or doing one thing or the other because of just how their lives are. And they all feel the same pain. So they're all rooting to get this on the ground, and they're all rooting to really make this become something that they can use. I mean, I've had, hundreds and hundreds, over 1,000 waitlist signups already from even AI4, and then just email newsletters that I've sent out to the community. So people are actually really interested, and they're waiting to actually use it. So, we know that we're not going to get a perfect finished product out day one, but I think just knowing that we do have support feels good, so that, hopefully our users will be patient with us, and we want to hear from them, because I believe the customer is the most important. So I want to create something that, has space, it's breathable, it can be modified. And if our users are telling us that, hey, like we prefer this or we like this more, then yeah, like we will change accordingly, because I think that's really important at this stage as well.
Yeah. And I want to ask about monetization, because I'm just thinking of, I have lots of students in 2 different master's programs at University of Southern California. Many of them are creating a digital product or service offering. They're thinking about monetization strategies. And right now we're talking about ethical monetization. So I'd love to hear what your approach is to that. Are you doing subscription based? Are you doing some ads?
So ads, I think ads is a great way to make extra revenue, but I think that's usually when, you've established a solid user base. It's also quite, you want your monetization model to be something that's proven and also consistent. Ads can be quite inconsistent depending on how you go about it. So I don't think that should be like your main income strategy. For us in the travel world, it's always been commission based. That's how people have been doing it for years, even before the internet, before online travel, just back in the day when you would actually have to go into, brick and mortar to buy a flight ticket or to reserve whatever. It's always been commission based, even with the airlines, with the providers. So that's the main model that we're using, is the commission that we would get from our partners anytime anyone books. We are looking at a freemium and a premium subscription model for any other features. We have some really great features that we're excited to launch, and we want our users to, decide whether or not they want those features, but I think they will. So that's another layer of monetization. And then we are also exploring the B2B space, so offering this to universities, colleges, institutions that need to plan group trips, group travel with students, group travel with organizations. So we are thinking of like a white label and licensing monetization structure as well. So a hybrid approach is good because it allows us to have all ends covered in case one source of income dips, so it's always good to cover your base. But yeah, for your students, I think they should think about what the main source of stable income would be, and that should be their focus. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the fact that you have so many different approaches that you can take, though, and that you've thought them through. And I mean, obviously you have because this is your business.
Yeah.
But I also see an opportunity for you to turn things on, the travel industry's head.
Right.
Yeah. Because you are already doing that through your approach.
Yeah.
And then even yeah, so I can see you doing so many big things with this
Oh,
platform. And
thank you.
I'm on the wait list, so I'm excited to dive in when you open it up. What else should we know about entrepreneurship, getting started and figuring out how to get your foot in the door?
So I would say, I'm still early in my journey, but I mean, I've always been an entrepreneur. Like I've always been, someone who has done things for myself and had to figure things out for myself. I think, having grit, having resilience, there are so many days where, things are tough and you're having to work 10 times harder. I mean, I'm working on Sundays. I'm the my computer is in front of me on the days where most people are out and about and enjoying their weekend. I'm indoors and I'm working, and I think, even into late hours of the night sometimes. So it's definitely something that you shouldn't do as a hobby. Like if you really have to be all in, and even like we were talking about earlier, how you saw like a huge improvement with what you're doing when you really focused your energy. It's the same thing. It's like you really have to give it your all and then some. And I think if you have that and you're consistent, that's like true key to entrepreneurship. And a lot of people say like, oh, sometimes you'll want to you want to feel like you just want to give up. Like you're just
Mhm.
gonna want to give up sometimes. I actually don't believe that. I've actually never once ever felt like I wanted to give up. And I think that's when you actually really want something. I'm not saying there won't be hard times, but I've done things where I felt like, oh, like maybe I should just give up. And looking back, I wasn't really on the right path when I felt those emotions. Now, at this part of my life, like I've never once felt like, oh, this is too hard. Let me give up. Like I've always thought, okay, what's the solution? What's next? Like, what can I do to make this better? This is not working. What will work instead? And so I think a huge part of like getting your foot in the door is just not even letting those emotions creep in and just knowing that there's always a solution. There's always an alternative. And even today I was having a roadblock about something, a feature that I was thinking about. And then all of a sudden I was like, why am I spending hours giving myself a headache about something when there's an alternative that I can just do? Okay, it might not be perfect, but it's progress. And as soon as I just put that in my mind to do something else that still works, then like all that weight is just lifted off my shoulders. And I was like, okay, now I know what I have to do. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, I want to have you back on down the road once you've launched, you've gotten through that first, 6 months so that you can report back to us on what you've learned, progress, take us on your journey.
Yeah, no, I would love to. I mean, I would love everyone to come on this journey because I do believe that this will really help
Mm.
you, no matter if you're someone who likes planning in advance, if you need a last minute trip, if you're just looking for inspiration, we have a huge drive to bring back the magic of discovery and travel. I think planning should feel exciting. It shouldn't feel exhausting. We should make travel more accessible. And, I don't think we should just spend all this time looking at pictures on social media and not being able to actually live those experiences or understand where those pictures came from. We can actually be inspired by the content and live the content. So I would love, to just share that with everyone.
Mm. Fantastic. So, Annie, we will have the link to sign up for the waitlist in the show notes. And
Oh,
all of that. But is there one last thought you want to leave the audience with today?
So I guess I would just leave one of my favorite quotes. It's by St. Augustine. He says, "The world is a book, and those who do not travel only read one page." And for me, that really captures why I'm so passionate about travel, just because it's not about just places, it's about expanding the chapters of your own story. And I think people should really try to, just travel more. Yeah.
Yeah, could not agree more. Thank you so much for talking to us about your platform, the approach that you're taking, and how your different life experiences have led you to this point.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. And thank you to everybody who's watching this episode or listening to it on your favorite platform. Back again with another amazing guest to share their story, their journey, and some things to help you make your life and your world of work a little bit better every day. Thanks for listening or watching to this episode of Your Brand Amplified. Don't forget to leave us a rating or review on your favorite podcast listening platform. And if you want to learn more, check us out at yourbrangamplified.com.
If you're an RIA, Schwab Advisor Services is the Watson to your homes. Smart, dependable, always has your back. With all the wealth services, technology, and support your firm needs, the difference is so obvious, it's Schwabvius. Follow the clues at schwabvius.com.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.